The hopes and fears of hundreds of thousands of young Australians are now coming true through exam results for their final year at school. The outcome can make or break plans for the future, not to mention the holiday in hand. In New South Wales at least, those students who fail to make the grades suffer a relatively private hell. Their names do not appear in print. But to the other end of the scale, this week brought a moment of glory. The names of the top 1% of matriculation students in New South Wales were released. This young man stood out from the 300 or so students on the list. He was given no special mention. There's no grading of students within the top 1%. But behind his success, Andrew Ollie found a story of remarkable dedication.
Tran Tay Hien spent the first 15 years of his life in Vietnam. When he came to Australia just 3 years ago, he spoke not a single word of English. Now he can match it with the best young minds in the country in their own language. Hien is the second of 9 children. His success is a tribute to the efforts of the whole family. They arrived in Australia with only the clothes they stood in. In the long haul back to economic freedom, even the youngest members of the family have to pull their weight. Their modest suburban weatherboard houses a thriving cottage industry based on a family production line. Hien often used to turn his hand to dressmaking after school, and he's back at the machine over the holidays. Hien's father, Diep, has a simple explanation for his children's single-minded application.
I explain to them how lucky we are now. We have escaped from the communist regime. That's why they work hard. And I work hard too. My wife works hard too.
You spend a lot of time driving a taxi?
Yes. Every day I drive usually about 12 hours.
And Hong does sewing at home?
Yes.
How much time do you spend sewing? How long?
Ông hỏi em là ngày làm bao nhiêu giờ? 12 hours.
Every day? And you're still smiling?
The Tran family had little to smile about in their final years in Vietnam. Diep was a naval commander before the old nationalist regime was toppled in 1975. He did not flee when the communists took over, and they decided he needed re-educating. According to Diep, this meant 3 years hard labour in a prison camp. He saw his wife and children only twice in that time. Finally, he became too ill to work and was released on condition that the family leave Saigon to be resettled in a new economic zone. This time they did flee, and after the now familiar nightmare voyage by small boat, they made it to a refugee camp in Malaysia, and finally Australia. It's a long way from Saigon to Sydney. They left a 3-storey home with separate bedrooms for each of the 9 children. For this.
This room for my for those 4 little girls and 2 little boys. Because the 2 little boys only 6 years old and 7 years old, so they sleep with the sister every night in 4 beds.
It's really crowded, isn't it? 6 in the room.
Yes, that's why now I have to work hard. So I hope in future I can buy the house for my children.
The Tran children appear to have come through the experience remarkably unscathed, but with a steely resolve to make the most of their renewed opportunities. During the long vacation, when most of their friends are unwinding at the beach, the older Tran brothers still have their heads down.
I don't mind studying hard for my future and the whole family education.
Why are you studying now?
Just something to prepare for next year, because I got to know everything clearly the last year's work, so I won't have any trouble when I first come into uni.
So even though you got that superb result, you still feel you should brush up a bit more on last year's work?
Yes, no one is perfect, so this one too, because with that result I'm not really too sure about what uni like this first time.
You don't feel you've earned a break?
I feel I should do, but not now.
Tien's older brother, a second-year dental student, has spent most of his holiday studying or taking his turn at the wheel of the family taxi. Not even the 17-year-old can be distracted from his books.
You've just finished year 10, yet you're still studying too. What are you studying?
I study to go for year 11, so when I go to year 11, make it easier for me. I just have 2 years left, so I got to study, and after that I can have a holiday later.
So you're not really having a holiday at all this year?
No, I don't think so.
What about your friends at school? Do you think they're doing the same thing as you?
No, I don't think so.
I don't believe that intelligence is distributed according to race.
Eula Guthrie has overseen the education of several thousand Vietnamese refugees. She feels they're unusually motivated to do exceptionally well.
I believe that many of the Vietnamese coming to this country are people who have been well educated, and therefore the children have had the advantages of some good education and a background of interest in education and books and reading and intelligent discussion. And I think all that sets a context and certainly sets aspirations for the students. I believe too that when people leave in crisis conditions, fairly favoured conditions in their own country, they tend all the more to strive to regain those standards of living and of importance in the community. And I think we've seen this with successive waves of migrants to this country.
Refugees arriving in Australia from privileged backgrounds have a track record of again achieving prominence in their adopted country, like those who fled the Nuremberg laws in the early 30s and Hungary in the 50s. Tien will study medicine. His older brother is already on the way to becoming a dentist, and his parents are determined that their other children will also achieve the status they once enjoyed themselves.
I want all my children, the girl and the boy, to have a high education.